Hey YouTube, Jake Palm here with a video for specifically Temple University students. As a student within their College of Science and Technology, but more specifically their Information Science and Technology program, I feel like as a senior I can give some experience which could translate into advice and maybe even like actual tips that prospective students could heed, or even existing students that are currently attending that really just want more insight on what courses to take or which professors to avoid. But yeah, my experience is obviously going to vary wildly among my peers because I'm a transfer student from Penn State. So yeah, I still have some experience on, I guess, the latter end. So I guess this would be more for like the upper end Temple students, but I can still give some advice on certain professors that do teach the lower level courses. So yeah, let's get right into the video. So tip number one is that you don't have to take the traditional calculus. Like, I know most majors, especially science majors, are required to take Calc 1 and 2, and it may appear that you have to take Calc 1, but I know some students do go and take differential and integral calculus, which is as you could hear from the title itself, differential calculus is more Calc 1, which is what I did, and integrals are more Calc 2, but Temple has like this aggregative program which kind of combines the two in a more streamlined fashion so that you really don't have to waste 2 semesters, and I guess you can save money that way. But for the most part, it's much easier than Calculus 1. And I know a lot of students do take that instead. The majority of IS&T students do. But I know some students do take Calculus 1 because they aren't fully aware. So yeah, I think this tip is probably the first one to go through it, especially if you really don't like math, or maybe you didn't take AP in high school and it didn't really transfer in. My second tip is just as important as the first, and that's you really should know how to code, especially by your junior year. And I'm not saying intense algorithms and be a pro at data structure such as trees and queues and stacks, but you're going to have to know how to like store things in arrays, or actually at least handle the basic for loops, if statements, like just the basic foundations of coding. And whichever language I guess you could choose, but IS&T should probably know how to do so in C# because that is what the latter courses are taught in. But Python and Java also work out as well. But yeah, coding is definitely important, even if you don't really plan on coding much. Like, let's say you want to work with, in networking or security rather than doing software engineering, then that's perfectly fine. But to get the degree, you're going to have to know to code to some degree. I guess a workaround would be taking MIS, which is Management Information Systems. You do get a little bit of tech, and I'm pretty sure you have to code a little bit, but it's mainly HTML, CSS, which is like the bare minimum. So that could be an alternative as far as changing your major, and that usually is where people go when they leave IST. Like, first they leave CS to IS&T, and then they leave IS&T to MIS. I'm not really sure where they go after that, but yeah, that is always an option. I would say definitely go for that more business tech hybrid if you really don't want to code. But yeah, most IS&T students really should know. And of course you can get by that if you have really great classmates that help you out, but on the tests you're probably going to suffer more, and that's either going to be pretty expensive or just waste a lot of time. So yeah, definitely learn how to code. Tip number 3 is just as important as the first 2, and that's something I didn't really realize until more of my junior year when I learned tip number 2. It's that you really can get the same jobs as computer science majors. And you've heard that all the time, but I didn't really realize until I realized. So like, the reason they're teaching coding, they teach it more in a practical way in IS&T, whereas with computer science they teach you more of the concepts. They teach you things that you really should know if you want to like flourish with any type of software engineering position. But you easily could get a job as a software engineer if you wanted to. You'd really just have to self-study, I guess, or just recap on a lot of data structures and algorithms, which we have to take a course in that, but you can easily just get by that, like with a C minus, which is what a lot of kids do. But if you really want to work with like in software engineering and even machine learning or AI, you could easily do so as long as you take it upon yourself to do some self-study. You can even take some CS electives, which I also didn't know until my last year, and it will actually count. So just because you don't see a course listed on the prerequisites or the requirements for the degree in the IS&T electives, you can also take computer science, and those are just as sufficient. Tip number 4 is to choose your science very carefully. So if you have a preference, like you prefer chem or bio, then I would say definitely choose the one you feel you're more inclined to study in, or at least like you won't fall asleep in. But of course, you could also choose physics, which is what I did since that's what I transferred in with. But that is definitely the harder of the 3, unless, like I said before, you have you have like a certain disposition. You already favor physics, then sure, take that. Or you already took physics 1 like me and you have to take the second physics. And I'm saying that because a lot of the professors are the only ones available to teach. Like, there's not a large amount of professors to choose from. And if you're like me and you're taking physics 2 the first year at Temple, which I transferred into, you didn't really rate my professor, big mistake, or you have to choose something that kind of aligns in your schedule, then yeah, you're definitely in for some tough, like some long nights, if you even get any sleep like throughout the night. So yeah, I'm definitely going to advise you to take the one that you're least likely to fall asleep in, and probably stick to bio or chem. If you really dislike all 3 of your options, then I would definitely say like those are the easier 2. I think most people go with bio, but yeah, like physics is important, I guess, if you're really trying to get to a certain field, and as are the other 2. But I would say if not, you just want to stick to your typical tech job, like whether it be support or security, DevOps, then yeah, definitely choose one of the easier 2. And my last tip kind of leans back onto the 4th tip, where I was mentioning professors, and that is to make sure that you know the professor that you're taking, either before you take them or while you're taking them. You really want to know their policies, how stringent they are, how, I guess, malleable they are with their scheduling, their attendance, like how true they are to their word. Like, let's say certain professors may claim they'll curve, and then like you won't find out until after the semester's over that, hey, you didn't curve. Luckily, I didn't really have any of that happening, but I know many people who have suffered through that. So I would say definitely rate my professor. Sometimes the score isn't always accurate, and I'm sure you're aware of that. Some people kind of just bomb a professor's score if they fail because of their own inadequacy, or maybe they just dislike their personality. It could be for whatever reason, but I would definitely say read through the reviews, and if most people are saying that, like recommending that you don't take them or that you'll really struggle, then either prepare yourself or probably look for other options, because professors can get pretty intense. And not to name drop, I don't know if I should name drop, but there is, I won't name drop. I don't know what'll happen in the future at any point if someone were to revisit this, but yeah, just make sure that you choose your professors carefully. So those are the 5 tips that I'm giving for mainly Temple University students. And like I said, I'll make one for a more broader audience of information, systems or science students or technology. But yeah, this is mainly for Temple students. And like I said, I'm a senior graduating, so if you have any other questions that are for anything really Temple related, hopefully I can help. Like, not all transfer students are like completely immersed, especially with most of this being over COVID. So like you're on campus much less than the average Temple student who might have graduated after attending for 4 years. But I'm always open to accepting questions and any type of comments. So yeah, make sure you send those over, give me a like, and yeah, I'll see you later.